The bottom line is the bottom line.
Welcome to another episode of the Uncensored Philly Sports Podcast. Seems like it's been a while, even though it's just been a couple of days.
For you.
Been a rough weekend. Been a rough weekend. Yeah, for me. Yeah. Hey, well, listen, sometimes I gotta take time to enjoy myself.
Amen.
Maybe if I was on here with my bad, maybe that's because I let these other haters and uncultured sports analysts be on here by themselves. If I was on here, maybe we'd have been winning in our sports.
We come on after the game though, so how does that work?
I got what they say. The sports guys, I guess they knew I wasn't going to be there, and they was like, "Nah."
Okay,
like, no, what's good? No, this was a rough one though, man. This game, this was a rough game just because we should have won this game. I put a lot of the blame on this. I put it on the coaching staff. Why are you coming out trying to pass the ball with Minshew? We should have came out running the ball from the jump. Yep. The defense in the beginning, they was getting ran on a little bit. And I do think that some of this, I think it hurt the defense a little bit. This defense give up yards and they give up plays, but usually they can lock down and they kind of temper it and give up field goals and stuff. They don't give up as many touchdowns, in my opinion. But I think when Sweat got hurt, I think that kind of rocked the defense a little bit. They didn't look even as aggressive as they was, and it kind of switched up in the second half. But I blame the coaching staff. Why are we putting the ball in Minshew's hands to make all these passes? Miles Sanders runs 2 times in the first half. We go 3 and out twice. The defense, as much as the defense gave up in the first half, we only gave up 13 points. And this is with the offense doing 0. So I'm putting this on the coaching staff for the way they called this game.
I mean, I can agree with a little bit of that. I can swallow a little bit of that. I mean, I can also swallow. We didn't have our starting quarterback. I don't care what them dudes said at the end of the game. Let me say a couple of things. For one, the announcers. I know you're trying to announce the game that you're in, but it kind of irritated me when they kept trying to act like we were a different offense. Now, like this game, like our starting quarterback wasn't missing. I know Minshew played good last game against the Cowboys. That was just one game, but they was kind of acting like the number one offense in the league, and now they're getting stifled. I'm like, yeah, well, our starting quarterback it's a huge piece. The quarterback is a huge piece of the offense. That's why he get paid so much. So maybe that was just me, but it kind of irritated me how they was like not mentioning Jalen being gone until like the very end of the game. And then he was kind of like, well, even if you could start and quarterback is missing, you still got other cats you can step up. It's like, bro, the starting quarterback holds the ball in his hand every single play. He is the offense for real, for the most part. But to say all that, I mean, I ultimately I say we didn't have Jalen. That was the end all to be all to me. While we lost the game, the defense played well, and and to address the announcers one more time, he said, "Well, I think it's bigger issues going on with Philly than just miss their starting quarterback." No, it's not. No, it's not. The defense held them to 13 points. If we would have had Jalen Hurts in that game, we would have scored 30. That game would have been over a long.
I agree.
So, and everybody been like, "Oh, the Eagles." We had to clinch the playoffs. I mean, we clinched the playoffs. We had to clinch the division and the number 1 seed. And there'd have been no more rap. So, I mean, ultimately, Minshew, he played his little heart out the Dallas game. He tried to come out. He tried to do some stuff today. But with to say, you are what you are. And he is what we thought he was. And Dallas let him off the hook. Well, they still won the game, but they had him looking, pretty good. Because let's be clear, too. I know, Tim, I'm sorry. I know I'm rambling. Dallas defense is suspect. Let's be very clear about that. The Saints actually have a pretty good, really good defense this year. And that's why Minshew looked pedestrian against Saints versus how he looked against Dallas. But if we'd have had Jalen, there was so many plays that could have been made. He would have opened up the whole offense with Jalen with his legs and with his throwing ability and all that. And this game would have been a rout. So Jalen got to play next week and we going to win.
Right.
I feel the same.
So I just want anybody, I'm going to do my impression of what's the quarterback from Green Bay?
Rogers.
Yeah, when he said relax.
RELAX.
Yes, relax. First of all, the Giants clinched today, so they're in the playoffs. They can't move up or down, so they're not going to play none of their starters next week. And Jalen will be back. So we're going to be playing against non-starters of the Giants next week. We're going to clinch home field throughout the playoffs. We're okay. So relax. We know what Minshew was. we know who he is, and like I said, he played bad last week, but everybody came in here like, oh man, she was great. I'm like, no, he played bad. It was funny because this guy, he does the all 22. He didn't even do all 22 on the quarterback last week. He said what I saw, he didn't even want to put it up there. But he's been doing it every week for the Eagles, and that's how it is. When you look at his footing, even Seth Jordan, like he was backing up the whole time. He never planted. It was all suspect yardage that he did last week. And today, he actually got exposed. And that's what happened. But it's okay because Jalen will be back next week in uniform to wrap everything up in a nice big bow. We're good. And as far as the defense is concerned, I'm right. Wayne right. Me and Ethan, we was overreacting a little bit on the defense. But
a little bit.
What was happening?
You mean a lot of bit?
Well, basically, what was happening in the first half, they was playing a little suspect. And lastly, before I let y'all get back in, shout out to the boy Josiah Scott because he actually was the turning point of the game with that interception. Because at that point, they was about to go on to score again. And last week, he the one that gave that 3rd and 30. But he actually played a lot better this week. He took all that.
He was okay because they was attacking him a little bit today too. He was okay.
Yeah, it wasn't nowhere near what he did last week.
Oh,
this week,
yeah.
And that interception was key because they were going to score again. So
no, they wasn't. They was going to get another field goal.
They still score. Another score?
It don't matter.
All right, go ahead. Y'all do
it. I actually think.
No, because honestly though, that's why this was irritating. They just looked lackluster to me in the first half, and I also put that on the coaching. It looked like that. And then we had penalties. Like, I get it, you got a different signal caller to the quarterback, but you didn't have that many. Did you have that many penalties last week, Minshew? Like, the offensive line jumping off sides. And listen, and I agree with in the comments, we had people talk about it. I am usually not the person that say the refs hosed us. I'm usually the one that argue stuff like, I don't want to hear that. You play through it. That was a horrible call that took a touchdown away. That to me, that did so much damage to. Even with all the other dumb stuff that we had go on, that right there, you're talking about now being down 7-10 with at that point instead of having to kick a field goal. That was a horrible call. Or what, 7-30, whatever. You have 7 instead of just that 3. That was a horrible call. It took the field goal away from, it took the touchdown away from us, and it looked like it took some of the steam out of the offense. After that, we kind of slacked off some. That play to me dictated a whole lot of the game, even though we had chances to make plays after that. But to Tim's point about Minshew, that's why I felt last week. I thought the defense, when y'all was ripping the defense last week, my whole thing was the defense really got beat off of Scott having such a horrible game from the injuries. But I mean, I'm not saying our defense is the greatest of all time, but let's get his defense some props. I know they give up some yards and this, that, and other. But if the offense maintains any kind of a flow with the offense, this defense, it kind of reminds me of our the Eagles offense, the Eagles when we had T.O. and McNabb. Remember that defense when the offense scored or the offense was doing stuff, when that defense could tee off and play the way that they wanted to play, the defense was teeing off on people and doing damage. But you need the offense. You can't go 3 and out like 2 or 3 possessions in a row. That's horrible.
I agree. We got a couple people in the comment section who are a little scared. RJ Lucas said he concerned. He in all full out panic mode.
RJ, relax.
You know who else is probably going to be back next week? Lane Johnson.
Who's that? Yeah, that's true. Herb said he's not concerned. He said he just annoyed, and I agree. I'm annoyed at this game too.
I agree, Herb.
But be honest with you, somebody talked about the D coordinator. They said he sucked. Again, it's still. I mean, I can't knock him too hard when you have a defense that has historic sack numbers. We got 68 sacks this year. We're probably going to break the all-time record because we have a game next week. We have the 17th game. But that is right on par with the 85 Bears who had 72 sacks in a season. So we 4 sacks behind, even in a regular 16-game season, we 4 sacks behind the Bears. Now, in my opinion, the Bull Reddick is a monster. He probably should be in a running for one of the defensive players in the year, or at least some kind of vote. At least a vote or 2 he should get. He's playing incredible this year.
No, I agree.
But I do have to give credit. I think our secondary is one of, if not the best secondary in football, which allows a lot of those sacks. Because even today, a lot of them sacks that we got, we didn't get there immediately. it was kind of the bull, whatchamacallit, I can't even remember. Dalton was kind of hanging around a little bit because Cox had like 2 sacks. And anytime you can get a defensive tackle with like 7 sacks on a year who's not really having the greatest year, that says to me that you're actually getting either your defensive ends is going to work, so it's allowing Cox to be one-on-one. They're trying to double team your defensive ends, and use some coverage sacks. So our secondary actually has been playing well. Now we got, we're a little nicked up with Maddox gone and our starting safety and all that. But, I mean, for the most part, that secondary has been playing solid. We gave up some big plays here or there. Like that 4th and 30 was irritating a lot of people. But that secondary guy, you got to give a lot of credit to that secondary.
But, a lot of times that coverage sack stuff comes from the fact that you're only rushing 4. You know how some people get in here, we need to blitz, we need to blitz, we need to blitz.
That's true.
You don't necessarily need to. If you can get the kind of pass rush you're getting with 4, and I agree with you because a lot of times that they go hand in hand. If you have a good enough secondary that's out there that can cover certain stuff, and that's why when you have them in a longer 3rd down instead of like the short 3rd down setting, then you're afforded that opportunity to do that and tee off and go after them dudes, and you know that you got it covered because you're dropping down so many people in the coverage. So I'm not as mad about Gannon's defense as some people are. So I mean, would I like to see them just come out? Would I like to see the Bears or the Gangrene Eagles defense just come out hitting bulls and blitzing? Yeah, but that's not conducive to this type of game right now.
No, you're looking at the end results, but they still, he needs to do something. That zone and I mentioned this earlier before we got on camera. Dak hit like 20-something straight.
So that's not the end result. Isn't that what counts? The end result?
No, it does because it's least as if you don't get enough opportunities on the offense. If you we didn't have any 3 and outs in the first half at all. Think about that. We did on offense.
We did on offense. That was the problem.
Defense, our defense couldn't do it, but their defense could. That's what I'm saying. We need 3 and outs. The more 3 and outs, the more opportunity you give your offense.
If you're giving up only 13 points in the first half of the game and then shut the other team out in the 3rd period, you're not going to tell me that's on defense.
Yeah, I mean, we do. Our run defense leaves much to be desired, but at the same time, you can't blame all that on the defensive coordinator. We lost our young boy Adams early in the season, one of the best young D tackles in the game. We lost him. We had to bring in 2 boys clean off the street. And sometimes it's the personnel. Sometimes your personnel ain't making the plays they need to make all the time to stop these runs up the middle and all kind of stuff like that. You know what I mean? Unless you're going to call 46 defense and you're going to constantly throw 8 in the box, then you're going to start giving up big plays over the top a little bit.
To your point, hey, Jack, see, he's saying Gannon could take a lesson from the Saints. The Saints, you know why the Saints were able to play up in our faces? Because our quarterback couldn't make them pay for it. So don't tell me to take a pitch, because I guarantee you if Hurts was in there, either he would have made more plays downfield to beat that, or when they got up in their faces and they did all Hurts on all those plays when Minshew was sitting back there and had time and had nowhere to throw it to, Hurts would have took off and ran. So all that playing up in their faces like that don't work for everybody. If the quarterback is trash, then it might work more.
No, what I realized about today, it clicked. Minshew not that smart of a quarterback either. I mean, he don't know how to improvise and think on like that. It was 4th and 22, was it? And you throw short to Devontae Smith, and it's the game.
You don't even try. Yeah,
that was dumb. I don't know what that
was. He probably put as hard as he could.
I mean, truth be told, that pass he threw to AJ Brown, that joke was a duck. Like AJ had to make a nice little adjustment, but when they showed the instant replay, that joke was fluttering up a storm. I was like, yo.
I actually think he was afraid to throw. I think he was afraid to throw because of all them interceptions he threw last. It looked like he was afraid to try to force anything anywhere because of all the turnovers he had last season.
I guarantee you, me and Minshew Arm is on the same level.
I guarantee you right. But you also got to somebody put this in Minshew, Ryan. He said Minshew and the offensive coordinator is to blame. You got to put that on OC because there's no way in the world you start the game and you only run Sanders twice. I mean, all running backs twice in the first half.
And it's not the first time the offensive coordinator has done that. He did that when we had Hurts too. And it's extremely.
X-Men know Minshew today wasn't throwing darts. He threw a couple here and there. He has a decent accuracy. I mean, if you do, this is where I kind of agree with Wayne. I think if you do call a proper game plan, I think he can be successful in a nice structured game plan when you run the ball enough to loosen up the defense, to give you some more one-on-one coverage, to loosen up the cornerbacks a little bit and all that kind of stuff like that. So this is where they did him a disservice. I agree with y'all who was saying the game plan was a little suspect. They tried to give Minshew a Jalen Hurts game plan. It don't work like that, bro.
Yep.
You
Like,
got
Minshew
it.
had a chance to run, and
You
he
got,
chose not to.
yeah. That one play he could have had some.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
he could have had some
dude,
yards.
that's it. He's not that smart of it. Like, it was the sea was open. We got some of the slowest quarterbacks that would have ran and just would have like, okay, let me run, keep the
Remember,
ball.
I told you Nick Foles. We seen Nick Foles make that, like the announcer actually even said. We seen Nick Foles take off and run and look like a baby giraffe, but still end up getting like 4 yards to get the first down. Minshew did none of that.
Yeah, I agree. No, I mean I'm not for anybody who's scared. RJ, Mr. No, I don't think Mr. Wing was scared. Anybody who's scared, what's up, MOTT? Hey, Tim, you get his wrench back? Where's wrench? Where Master Craft wrench?
MOTC. we was getting spammed, and so I started deleting. So you accidentally your thing got deleted. Stop acting up. It's just so when you lose your you don't mess with no more.
Stop acting like what?
Yeah, MOTC, that was a mistake that he took your wrench away or something. He was saying he hit you on the you was a victim of circumstance. You was friendly fire. You got hit in the friendly fire tip.
Hey, Knuckles, listen, like Tim said, relax. We act like, all right, we're 13-3 now, right? We lost 2 games without Jalen Hurts. We lost 1 game this year with Jalen Hurts. As horrible as we say the coaching has been, the defensive coordinator, we were winning every game, beating the teams that were right there underneath of us. We lost to Dallas without our starting quarterback, even though we beat them without theirs, in all fairness. We lost to Dallas without a starting quarterback. We beat Minnesota outright. Those are the 2 teams that's right behind us in the conference, and we beat those teams with our full team. So let's not get into I'm worried about the coaching. Oh, we looking bad going in it. Bro, it's football. And to me, when it looked like the Eagles came out and they was focused on the running game and they came out, boom, boom, boom. And even that being said, as horrible as they played today, they still were in position where they could have won it, if not for a horrible call on that run play that should have been a touchdown easy, where dude just straight flat pancaking. That was a picture-perfect block. That's a pancake. Offensive lineman live for that. And they called a whack holding play? That was trash. You muted, Tim.
And I agree. Hold on, Tim. Hold your thoughts. You still muted. I agree with the announcer on that when he was saying, I hate when why would you call something if you didn't see the whole play? Like, don't just see out the corner of your eye somebody go down and get pancake and you throw a flag thinking it's a hold. You have to see what led up to that before you could legitimately call a huge game-changing play. That was very annoying, bro.
It was.
That irritated me. And I agree with a couple people who said on here, Ryan, what's up? Shout out to Upchurch. I agree. He said, I'm not afraid of nobody at NFC. Me neither. I'm really not. I'm not. No. Dallas defense is trash. We could beat Dallas. I'm not afraid of Tampa. I'm not. They're the team that probably, honestly, between them, I'm not afraid of Minnesota. Tampa just concerned because Tom Brady, the GOAT, they might give some calls leaning his way.
Tom Brady and the refs.
Yeah, plus he's just a good seasoned quarterback and smart. He knows what to do in certain situations to make certain plays. But ultimately, I'm really not afraid of nobody, for real.
Yeah,
we saying how we losing players, dudes will come back too. And do I want the bye week? Absolutely. Do we need it?
Yeah, we need it. You don't want.
No, you don't necessarily need it. Anybody? Need it. I don't see. To me, saying need it, that means we can't win if we don't get the bye week, and I don't believe in that. I believe it makes it extremely easier and that much better to get the bye week. But don't tell me it's plenty of teams that won from being a wild card team going in.
We still need it though. Look, AJ Brown just kind of threw Minshew under the bus on that last interception.
He should have.
He was like,
what did he say?
He was
look how weak the pass was. That was.
They got the microphone. They said, that you they were having an interception. He said he was hoping that Minshew would look up. He just had one read. All he saw was that one read. He just threw the ball. He said,
and he kept throwing it at the dude.
He said when he saw that he was double, he just wanted to look up like, yo, this ain't it. And he just had that one read, like, no, the ball's going to you, and bam, pick six. That's that emotional intelligence. That's that football intelligence.
I mean, that's also
he does sleep in his own truck in the summertime. So
I mean, that's also not playing a lot either. A lot of that stuff is learned when you got the first team reps all year. A lot of that stuff is learned through game time.
They asked him that. They said, is it because y'all haven't played a lot together? He said, no. It was just that he.
No, I'm just talking about. I'm just saying bad plays in general, not just your chemistry between the receiver. You just saying because he made a bad play, he dumb. I'm not. It's to me. It's not
a lot of bad plays.
To me, sometimes, yeah, exactly. But that sometimes to me, that's just a fact of not having in-game experience. You always learn more from playing in game than playing practice, than playing you scrimmaging, than when you playing 1-on-1s or 7-on-7 drills and all that kind of stuff, and you know going through your regular quarterback routine, you really learn during the game. You learn tendencies.
He got 2 years as a starter and 4 years in the NFL, and he practiced every week. You got to learn. You should know football.
He didn't start 2 whole years, did he? I think he started 1 year.
4 years in Jacksonville, and then he came here as a backup.
Because you be throwing out felonious stats, and so I gotta fact check that.
Fact check me,
but I mean, and sometimes you are what you are. But I don't think he's dumb. I just think sometimes you try. The game happens so fast. You got to try to make quick decisions. Everybody ain't
Jalen.
Jalen quick with decision making. Yeah, that's why he's special. That's why he's the MVP. Yeah. Everybody not that quick-witted with decisions to make the right throw at the right time. Sometimes you feel pressure and you want to get rid of the ball at your hands, because we was at that point, I think we was inside the 5 when he threw that pick. So he's scared of getting safetied and all that. Like, it's a lot going through your head, and sometimes you can't process it that fast to make the proper throw. And he made a dumb throw, and once that happened, we all knew that was game.
Yeah.
And listen, I do agree that it's very important to get the bye week. The reason why I say that I don't feel like all is lost, we have no shot at it, is I feel like the Eagles at full strength can beat anybody. And we've seen this team at full strength. We've seen this team march through the league, whooping people left and right. So do I like the thought of having to go 3 road games in order to get there? No, I don't like it. But I'm not sitting up there and thinking the same way people thought when we lost Carson Wentz and Nick Foles stepped in. Oh, the season over. This I don't buy into that theory. I think the Eagles are a dominant team when at full strength. And I'm not a doctor, and I don't play one on TV. But to me, I think Josh Sweat looked like he had a stinger. I said that when the play happened. It looked like it was a stinger.
But he's in the hospital now, so it's more than
you do know that they send you there for precautionary reason to get checked out, right?
I hope that's the case, because I really want them to come.
I mean, it could be more than that. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, but they do. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like that play when you go to make that tackle and your neck get jammed. They said he got the feel in all his extremities and everything else. So, I mean, he might be out another week or whatever, because it could be that stiff neck soreness. Don't know how long everything lasts, but
Alton, I'm gonna address this. You said, why y'all not talking about the defense, not understanding this? Well, you want to talk about the defense, because I think we hit it. We said that they stunk in the first half and they played well.
They didn't stink in the first half.
They stunk.
They gave up 13 points and a half. That's not stinking. That's not stink. Giving up 13 points and a half when your offense moved the ball 0 is not stinking. It's not playing great, but it's not stinking.
They stunk.
When your offense goes 3 and out the first 2 possessions, if your defense was stinking, you in the hole 21-0.
They still stunk.
Okay.
I mean,
that's not stinking. 13 points is not stinking, considering.
Minshew played a season and a half with Jacksonville. He didn't start 2 whole years. That's why I had to fact check Tim real fast.
So you saw the season and a half.
But that's neither here nor there. He said 2 whole years, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, the defense to me, they didn't stink. Jack Dwight, the defense didn't. They gave up 13 points. I mean,
you know why New Orleans controlled the clock? Because the Eagles went 3-0.
Yeah,
twice
every time. You
can't get. And you know how fortunate New Orleans is too. If they was here and we played this game last week, they would have crumbled. The weather, they had indoor weather. They're an indoor team.
So they just beat Cleveland. They just beat Cleveland in freezing weather last week.
They wouldn't beat Philly in freezing weather. They wouldn't beat us.
I don't know. Minshew quarterback, and they might have.
Minshew might not be able to get a ball 20 yards downfield in the freezing.
That is the X factor. That is the X factor.
So like I said, to me, this game is the tell of our quarterback. This shows you how important a franchise quarterback really is. Wayne hit the nail on the head. We lost 1 game all year with Jalen, and we just lost 2 back-to-back with Jalen not being here. I don't think that's a coincidence or by mistake. Yeah. We are a tremendously better team when he's at the helm.
So is it the system or is it the quarterback?
It's the quarterback for sure. The quarterback is the system.
It's mainly the quarterback. The system is designed for this quarterback, and he works excellent.
Jalen is the system.
Jalen may not be able to play in every system like that, but go ahead, Ephraim.
No, I'll be trolling Tim on the chat because he irritates me how he be hating on Curry when everybody know Curry the best player in the NBA. And Tim be trying to say he like 5 or 6, and that kind of get under my skin a little bit. But I troll him back with Jalen. But Jalen is indeed Jalen's the system, bro. Is it certain plays they probably put in that he's more comfortable with running? Yes, but they do that. But they do that.
He makes the system work.
My thing is they do that with every quarterback. If you remember when Tom Brady first got underneath whatchamacallit offense, Bruce Arians offense, and he wasn't playing well, they asked him, "What do you want to do?" Tom Brady said, "I want to go down the field more and put some offensive wrinkles in that I used to do back in New England." That's what they did. Next you know, Tom Brady playing like Tom Brady. So, and I say him because he's the gold standard. He the GOAT. So if the GOAT need a system put in place to help him prevail, then anybody needs that. So everybody needs it, something, you know, some comfortable place for him. But Jalen the man, bro. Jalen the man, He keep that ball moving. He get the ball out of his hands fast for the most part. If it break down, he could run. He could make something happen with his legs. He a different breed of animal, and we need him going into the playoffs. We need him for this last game. We already in the playoffs, so everybody panicked because the announcer kept saying, if you win, you in. That's where you got to play Jalen. I'm like, we already in. I'm thinking to myself, bro, you ain't do your homework. We already in the playoffs. We just got this will just clinch the division and home field throughout. But with that, needing that bye because we got injuries, I do think this game is a huge, not a must win, but we need to win it.
I kind of like that though. Put the pressure on.
Me too.
I want to see the pressure. I want to see Jalen come out and rock against the pressure.
Yeah,
and ball out.
Only one issue right now. Lane Johnson, they knew he wasn't starting. They knew he was going to be out. Why didn't they give the boy Driscoll? What's his name? Jack Driscoll. Why didn't they give him help in the beginning when they knew that they was bored? They was doing everything. That's how they was getting the Minshew. They didn't give Minshew any help in the first half either.
Bro, you can miss me with that. I seen too many times where Minshew had time in that pocket and just couldn't get nobody and couldn't throw nobody open.
I kind of agree with him though. I agree with him.
Early on, they didn't give him no help, and you know that
they should have ran it.
That too.
That's the help. That's the help. Is run the ball
or give him some help. Do something. They did. They really thought that was Jalen. They thought they could do the same game plan. And the thing is, now we had a chance to have a top 10 pick because we had the Saints pick. Now that pick is no longer a top 10 pick. So we messed up.
Nobody care about that right now. Nobody care about that offseason crap right now.
They're always on his GM.
Hey, get off of Twitter. Get off of Twitter.
They're always on his GM.
Yeah. All right, fake GM talk.
That pick was important.
What's the old Sixers?
No, listen. Now everybody know
who was here when AI was here. What's the old Sixers GM name? Tim Swear.
Oh, Billy King. Yeah, that's still looking like Billy King.
Somebody's on his Billy King, bro.
He like Billy King GM in football. No, listen. Everybody know I wasn't the biggest Jalen Hurts fan, but that being said, when we talk about the quarterback in the system, Jalen Hurts makes this system. Like I don't. But you need, like somebody, like a lot of people said, good quarterbacks, like Ephraim just was saying, good quarterbacks need the right system for them. You'll have players that have talent, but not in the right system or even in the surrounding development, like not even in the right surrounding cast. The Eagles have a system in place. They have a surrounding cast in place, and Jalen Hurts takes that thing exponentially up. Like every quarterback can't step in and do what Jalen Hurts does. So when you lose that drop off, I was okay with him sitting today. Like I know some people say come out handle, but I'd rather let him go ahead and get all that soreness up out of that. And then if we come out and handle business next week, like I feel like we should and will, then he'll be able to sit out and wait another game. So I'm not pressed about that. I get it. Philadelphia, we panic a lot. Ethan and Tim was panicking from the beginning. Oh, we're doomed. It's over. We're done. It's over. We stink. And for everybody saying that the defense gave up that long drive in the beginning, yes, they did. But guess what? That happens. That happens sometimes. Sometimes you'll see even good defense might come out, get handled early on. They're like, all right, hold on. And they get their bearings. They see what the other team trying to hit them with. They make adjustments and they shut it down. That happens in football. But your offense cannot go 3 and out 3 times in a row. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I agree. Yeah, Jamar, don't fall for the cap. Don't fall for the trolls. There's a couple Cowboys trolls in here, and that's good. We welcome y'all because listen. If y'all get to us in the playoffs, you're not beating us. Y'all not beating. I'm telling you right now. If y'all happen to run into us, if y'all get past the Buccaneers, who I think y'all might play first, y'all not beating us. So we'll handle that when that time comes around. But what Tim was saying, I do agree with Tim was saying a little earlier about the pass protection scheme. When you know Minshew, he needs time. He's not a quick decision maker like Jalen. Nope. So you can't have him under duress and trying to make quick decisions. That's how you throw bad passes. That's how you throw interceptions. You know what I mean? So I think if you're going to, like Wayne said, I do agree with Wayne, you should have ran. But if you're not going to run, you need to get that man some help. Now, the one play they tried to give him help with Miles Sanders, and Miles Sanders kind of blew the block. He blocked it like almost like a chip block, like he was hitting the shoulder and going out. But he really wasn't, because he just threw his shoulder at him and bounced off of him like a ping pong. And then Minshew ended up getting sacked. So if you're going to stay in there and block, Miles, you got to go in and block. I know y'all be listening to the show like Ben Simmons. We chased Ben Simmons out of town because he was listening to the show. And Tim and Joel B said he wants to get traded because he listens to Tim and Ethan hate on him. So they listen to the show. It's getting around, and I appreciate everybody listening. Y'all viewers, y'all getting the show out there. So I say that to say, Miles, hang in there and stay with that block. If that's Jalen next time, don't let Jalen get hurt on no dumb stuff, because you ain't want to stand there and really get busy with that block.
Everybody turning on Minshew today. They said he's a Herschel Walker quarterback. I don't know what that means.
Well, Minshew,
we didn't do him no favors not running though. We ain't do.
I agree with Tim last week. I don't think. Well, no. See, I was kind of in between. Tim was making like Minshew was straight trash last week. I don't think he was straight trash. But I don't think that he was as good. I don't think that he was as good. I don't think that he was as good as some people tried to make him out to be.
No, Minshew was all last week. He was doing his thing.
Nah, he really kind of did. For real, if you look at how many turnovers he had.
Remember, and even those 2 interceptions that Quez,
and he also fumbled the handoff to Scott.
He fumbled one handoff to Scott, the other one
and two interceptions.
Fumbled, got the ball. Yeah, the 2 interceptions, both of them you could probably blame on Quez, since Quez didn't run the route right. If that was any other receiver, it would have been picked. In my opinion.
But I don't even think that honestly, I don't even think or how many points did we score in last week when 7 of them came from the defense?
Yeah, he still scored 28 points. But we
he didn't score 28. What did we score last week? 35?
He scored 35. So he scored, that's what I'm saying. He scored 4 touchdowns. He led the
offense. And 4 turnovers. I don't think that he was all that great. I don't think he was horrible, but I don't think that he was outstanding and great. I thought the Eagles receivers, the receivers made a lot of great plays. Like even like this week, the one pass he threw sailed super high, way over Smith's head. But he was doing last week, he was throwing high passes, but our guys was going up and making great catches last week.
And I agree, Jamar. I do think that fumble with Boston Scott fault too, but that's neither here nor there. My thing is,
I think it was Boston Scott was too short.
Minshew, in my opinion, last week played a great game, but it was against a suspect defense. That's why I keep telling all these Dallas fans, y'all defense is. Let me finish. Let me get my. You can hear
it was a bad game though. You can hear great.
We can hear your take after Minshew, in my opinion. Played a great game against a whack defense. This is what happens when you play against a higher rated, a more aggressive, better talented overall defense. Your weaknesses is going to show. You ain't going to be able to exploit holes in the secondary, and you ain't going to be able to have Michael Parsons getting faded out because you throwing little fake rolls his way and all that kind of stuff like that. So, I mean, listen, he had a great game last week, and he had played like trash against a good defense. That's what happens. That's why he's not a starter. Starters play good against everybody. They may play a little bit worse against a better defense, but not this bad. And somebody asked the question earlier, and I want to ask y'all. They said, "Do y'all still think Jalen Hurts should win MVP this year, missing the 2 games?"
I think he should.
I think it's going to be hard for him to beat out.
He won't get it. Hopefully, maybe
Mahomes. I think it's going to be hard for him to beat out Mahomes.
But
I mean, honestly, missing these 2 weeks, I actually think that it might add to the reason why he should be considered for MVP, because you see how horrible the offense looked without him in there. I mean, if anything, that's proof of how valuable he is to this team and to this offense. Like I even feel like against Dallas, like I said, to me, Jalen's passing is good. It is
great.
I'll say good to great. However, his ability to run and create plays and extend plays and all that other stuff makes him a special quarterback.
Yeah.
So, and that being said, it was plays today where you saw like they would just drop him back. The Eagles got good receivers. So when other teams is dropping back, like they're not going to beat us this way. When you got a Jalen Hurts, he could take that snap and just run and get you 7 yards real quick before anybody even get close to him. And so you have to honor that and play that, and it opens up a lot of other stuff. So I ain't worried about it. If Jalen's healthy, I ain't worried about it.
Remember Chris Sims a couple weeks ago, he said if you put Gardner Minshew and the Eagles, they still be just as good. That's a quote by him.
Who said that?
Chris Sims. Remember
this is why I always tell y'all, these are some of the dudes and I'm not sure if he does, but this is some of the mindset of some of these dudes who vote for MVPs. This is some of the mindset of these dudes who vote for Defensive Player of the Year, for all NBA teams and all NFL teams. That's why I say I don't care about them. Y'all hear me say I don't care about who won the MVP for the season. I don't care about how many first team. When people try to say, well, Kobe is better than this player because he got 9-time first-time all MVPs and all this all NBA offense and all NBA. I don't care about that. Because the dudes voting on it, to me, they're suspect in their own right from even saying stuff like this. This is the mindset of some of these dudes. Let's keep in mind, Nash, and to Wayne's point that he always makes, and I'm going off football a little bit, Nash won 2 MVPs with Kobe and Shaq in the NBA. Let's
and Iverson.
Let's keep this in mind. So when y'all talk about all this extra stuff and y'all want to put all this into the equation, don't when y'all talking to me, because I don't care. But
Mark, I just said that. I just told him how Minshew, AJ, like he didn't just throw him under the bus. He kind of like rode him over a few times.
Hey, bro, AJ was throwing him under the bus during the game. You see how he was coming up. But see, my only thing with AJ, he do that a little too much. Because remember, let's keep in mind, he did the same thing to Jalen during that with the Washington game. Did the same thing to Jalen coming off, throwing his helmet, yelling, "I'm open," and throwing all these temper tantrums. And then what happened immediately following that? He had 2
most
bad
talented
games.
receivers. Most talented receivers act like
But
that.
They are divas. Your corners are divas and your wide receivers are divas. Those are the 2 divas on
it's a certain thing about being a diva and a certain thing about having respect for the boy you trying to throw in the bus.
You don't think that he got respect for Jalen? He got mad respect for Jalen. That's his man.
No, he do. But
listen, I seen you. Don't do that, because I seen you in that moment. I seen you in that moment act the same way.
Any quarterback I've ever done that to, I didn't respect him like that. It was garbage. It was garbage.
Hold. When I hit you in your hands way back, you got up, you started to throw a temper tantrum, and then when I let you know, listen, I just got hit and I put that on your hands.
No,
I
was mad at myself. I was never mad at you.
No, yes, you was. You was like, you gotta put that in there. Yes, you was. But then you fell back. You fell back.
Whatever you're about to say, let somebody else say it, not you.
You don't listen. If you okay, let me ask you this: how many bulls y'all see snap on Tom Brady like that? You ever see Randy Moss snap on Tom Brady like that? How many bulls you see snap on Peyton Manning like that? You know why they don't? Because they respect their greatness.
I seen Reggie Wayne snap at Tom Brady.
I ain't never seen nobody snap at Peyton Manning like that. Never.
I saw him snap at him.
Because you got to show me the video.
Josh going to be released from the hospital, so maybe it was a stinger. They said
that's what it looked like to me.
That's good. That's a scary injury, by the way.
So that's good news.
But to my point, you could talk about that when I'm done. Don't cut me off.
How long that's going to be?
Don't cut me off. Like I was saying, like in my opinion, you don't do that to a bull like Jalen Hurts, who's been consistent all year and just keep this in mind. AJ Brown has been a very good NFL wide receiver. He's having his best year with Jalen Hurts. He only had 1 year in his career that he was over 1,000 yards, and he just got over 1,000 yards. He's having his best career with Jalen.
T.O. had his best career with McNabb. He snapped on McNabb.
Exactly. And that's nutty. That's nutty. But and you know why he snapped on McNabb? Because he didn't respect McNabb. You do that when you don't respect bulls. And I'm not saying AJ don't respect Jalen, but it's a level of disrespect when you come off after 1 or 2 plays or after 1 game and you start throwing this temper tantrum like I'm open and crying and trying to throw on the bus. That's why he had 2 bad games in a row and he fumbled and lost one of them.
Oh, wait, real quick, too. You're right, but real quick, right? When we talk about our Eagles defense, right? We do realize, I forgot about this. We realized the first field goal that they hit was a 54-yard field goal. So it wasn't like they marched down the field and scored on the Eagles that second field goal. They kicked a 54-yard field goal. That's not marching down the field and scoring.
This is my
Thank you, X-Man. He definitely did.
I said it's a different thing of calling somebody out when you get into the huddle or exposing somebody for everybody to see when the cameras is on. You taking your helmet off, slamming your helmet, yelling all down the sideline. That's totally different than you calling somebody and be like, "Yo, bro."
But that happens all the time. It's just when the media picks and chooses to put the camera. Because as soon as AJ took his helmet off, they start putting the cameras in his face, hoping to catch something.
And then what did he do? And then what did he do in the press conference? He doubled down on it.
Oh yeah, because he was right.
Exactly. No, I agree. I'm not mad at you doing that at Minshew, but I take offense to that when you're doing that to a quarterback who's balling. If Minshew's thinking it up, he probably need to be called on it because he's thinking it up. Jalen been balling all year since you've been here. You had your best numbers with him. Fall back. That's why you jinxed yourself. That's why he jinxed himself and he fumbled. A couple plays later, he fumbled and lost the game for us.
Guess what happened? Guess what happened? After he spazzed out, Jalen said, "You right," and he went to go throw the ball to him, but then he dropped the ball.
And then Jalen said, "That's what you get for running."
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Jalen said, "I'm gonna come back to you next week because we're gonna ride this until the wheels fall off."
What happened? He fumbled again the next week.
Can we give a shout out to Brandon Graham though? Mr. I hate Graham. Mr. Hater Wayne.
Dude, yeah, first of all, see, here y'all go with the narratives again. What I said was Brandon Graham gets overhyped. And he was being overhyped. Remember when he had 7 sacks in the first? He had 7 sacks in the first 8 games of the season. And y'all like Brandon Graham, all pro. And I said, listen, his numbers catch up to him. That's pretty much what he's gonna have. And he got no more sacks that season. But I was a hater. I was right. I told y'all. And my other thing was he gets overpaid the same way y'all hate on Toby getting overpaid, the same way Fletcher Cox is overpaid right now. Brandon Graham is overpaid. He's a role player right now.
Double-digit sacks.
Barely. He just got into it today. And only because he was pressing the playing.
Let me first address Wayne, then address some of the comments that's coming after the statements that I made that are always 100% accurate. First of all, Wayne was hating on Brandon Graham.
He was hating on Brandon Graham.
If you start off the season with 7 or 8 sacks, what more than likely is going to happen? The offensive attention is going to roll your way. They're not teams are going to watch your tape. They're not going to let you do your thing. They're going to start putting the extra bodies on you. Going to start chipping you and all that kind of stuff like that. That's what slowed Brandon Graham down. Brandon Graham was that great.
He would be leading the Eagles in all kind of stats because he's been here forever. He stunk his first 4 to 5 years here.
Nobody said he was. You act like we said he's Reggie White great, but you was.
I was talking. That's how y'all was talking. Brandon Graham is an all-time Eagle.
No, we did. We not.
Because he made one play in the play. Because he made one play in that playoffs in the Super Bowl where he was getting demolished the whole game, but he did make a great play at the end of the game.
He is probably gonna go down as an all-time. He's gonna go down as an all-time Eagle, not Reggie White all-time, but he's gonna go down as an all-time. He's gonna be up there with Trent Cole and.
He ain't up there with Hugh Douglas.
He's gonna be up there with Hugh.
He's not up there with Hugh Douglas.
He's gonna be up there with Hugh by the time he's done. I think he might be on that level right now. Especially if we win a Super Bowl this year and he's still playing like he played this year, he got double-digit sacks.
Like this game, not this year. You talking about this game?
He got double-digit sacks this year. He's been playing solid all year.
Yeah, that's a product of the system against Brandon Graham because he was a late, like he came on late in his career. It's not like he started off like a beast.
No, I don't.
He still is a great player.
I don't hate him. He's not a great player. That's where I'm talking about. You're over. He's a good player. He's a solid role player right now. That's where my issue. Stop talking about like everybody's not a great player. But you be the same dude that talking about how great Brandon Graham is, but Fletcher Cox trash. Like, come on, man, stop.
No, Fletcher Cox is great. He's another all-time great. Graham is a great player. I agree with
that. Man, you might go back and check Hugh Douglas records.
I think Jamar said it too.
Hugh Douglas is different.
Graham is an all-time.
Back to Philly on the radio too. He back to Philly on radio.
Graham is an all-time Eagle. He gonna go down as an all-time Eagle. But Jack White, the thing.
Thank you, Jack. I agree.
The thing I'm saying, you said earlier, quarterbacks do it to receivers all the time. I never said it was right. I don't like when somebody does that to somebody. When you balling and you try to put me on blast like that, like that's why. And everybody know I'm gonna make this disclaimer. AB is a head case, but that was nutty when Ben Roethlisberger tried to blame him for that pick that he threw in the end zone in that game that I think it could have gotten into the playoffs. Don't like how you throwing me under the bus, bro? Throw a better ball. Don't try to throw me under the bus either in public on the sideline or try to expose me after the game when you know you ain't been playing good. I don't like that. So I don't like when a quarterback did it to receiver. I don't like when the receiver try to put a quarterback on blast. I know it's an emotional game and all that kind of stuff like that, but it's still about respecting your team and not trying to put nobody on blast like that. I thought that was kind of nutty, in my opinion.
For the record, I don't hate Brandon Graham, and I do think that he's going to be in the Eagles' ring of fame because he's been here so long. Sometimes it's certain players that, because of what they've done for your team, have been there for your team. But stop capping like he's this great player. He's not a great player. He's very good, but he's not.
He's an all-time Eagles great. Yes,
he's an all-time Eagles player. Yes, because he's been here forever.
I mean, but not that. That's not just why he's been around for a while. He's been productive at the same time. You act like he ain't been doing that.
How many sacks do we average per season?
I think around 8.
Do we?
Let me look at the stats. I'll pull them up for you. And then we got to throw Wayne to the carpet on a lot of these stats because
I didn't say I just asked.
But you be acting like you know, and you.
No, I'm asking because I don't know. Right now, I'm asking because I don't know.
Let me see.
I just want to sweat.
He had, let me start from 20. He got 70 total sacks. He played, but you gotta remember he was hurt.
No. Don't start talking about because he was hurt. And this, that, no, they only gonna show you the games he played, right?
Last year he didn't play. He tore his Achilles.
Yeah, sometimes I said you gotta remember he get the season. He ain't played 2011 and he ain't played 2021. You gotta take.
He ain't playing a lot of seasons.
That's 2 years.
But no. How about the first? He wasn't his first 3 or 4 years he was injured too.
But okay, but
wait, Tim, the same person that hates on Bede, talking about Bede and these injuries and not being available, right? But now you want to pardon Brandon Graham?
So Brandon Graham,
like the last, and Bede is like the equivalent to a quarterback being injured like that.
All right, so let's take it from 2014, right? I don't have the number of games. Let me go back. I'll go to this one. It has the number of games. All right, here we go. Sack totals. All right, games from 24. I go from 2012 when he first played his first full season as an Eagle. All right. I don't know why they got the sacks over here. He had 5 sacks that year, 5.5 sacks that year, 16 games. Next game, 2013, he played 16 games. He had 3 sacks. The next year, he played 16 games. 2014, he had 5.5 sacks. Then all these next years, he played the whole season. So he had 5.5, 6.5, 5.5, 9.5, 4, 8.5, 8.5. Then he missed the season last year. Then he had 11 this year.
Right, he's been solid the last few years.
So but average is probably about in the last, let's say since 2015. If you want to be, I don't know, break it down from that.
Right, he's been very good, but he's not been
about around 7 sacks.
He's been a good, solid defensive end.
8, 11. So he probably about 7 sacks a game.
He's been a solid defensive end. But that's why I said I didn't say he was trash. I said he was overrated. Where some Eagles fans was making it like he was the next coming, like he was a Watt. Like that's how they was talking about it. I'm like, sometimes he gets overrated.
The only boy you can say was on that level was Trent. After Reggie White, obviously was like Trent Cole. I don't think nobody put Graham on that type level. See, Wayne doing them.
No. But people was that's like I said. He made
next week. All right, y'all. We losing like 20 people. Y'all can stay on the same Brandon Graham. Let's move on.
All right, what you going to talk about then?
Hugh Douglas. He was better than Brandon Graham.
Shout out to John. John Giants just won. He said, "Let's go Giants. Can't front. Eagles should have won that game." But he said, "Y'all cool though. I'm a realistic Giants fan. Y'all probably going to beat us and lock up the number 1 seed." Yeah, I think so. But I mean, John, we was also talking about y'all probably rest everybody since y'all locked. Y'all can't go no higher, no lower. Y'all good where y'all at. And maybe, I don't, sometimes you may be able to, if you win a game, it may change the opponent that you face, depending on who else loses and wins and all that kind of stuff like that. But y'all already in the playoffs, so y'all can't change y'all seating. But y'all, I don't know, y'all may be able to change your opponent if y'all win. I'm not sure. But y'all probably end up resting some people anyway. So if y'all do, we definitely should win this game. But even if y'all don't, we better win this game when Jalen come back.
I do need to address her real quick. X-Man, it wasn't about Graham being productive the first few years. He was a number 1 draft pick of the Eagles. And we know that they allow these number 1 draft picks. Remember when who was that dude? Michael Smith, the Eagles drafted, and he still was on the roster for like 3 years. Like the dude never even got on the field. So when you get drafted high, but Brandon Graham panned out in the long run to be a solid player in the NFL and for the Eagles organization, but he wasn't all that productive.
You're using words like solid, okay. You using real.
He is solid. He's like a solid veteran professional football player.
You call him a C+.
C+, B-, yes. Seven sacks a year is not great. You realize
I mean,
right?
But X-Men, my only thing is who would the Giants be playing spoiler for? Would they want to, it's going to come down to the Eagles or us. I mean, the Eagles or us, the Cowboys or the Eagles. So it's no real win for them in this situation. So if they win and beat us and the Cowboys win out, the Cowboys win the division. If we win, we win the division. So for them, it's like, we in the playoffs, we don't care. Maybe they'll rest up and get ready for the playoffs. And instead of going in with a possible couple unnecessary injuries like Saquon Barkley or whoever they might, deem to be worthy that they need during the playoffs. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think Giants are going to play nobody unless it affects who they end up playing. That's
Giants still got that Daniel. What's his name? Daniel Jones, their quarterback, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's gonna kill that boy next week. He gonna kill that boy.
I don't think he's gonna play. They probably bench him and put the backup in. They probably go at the Nick Foles. Somebody said Nick Foles got benched. Did Nick Foles get benched?
I don't know if he got benched, but I know he played horrible last week against the. I think he threw like 2 or 3 picks. Anyway, we're about to wrap this thing up, and so because we'll be back on tomorrow, where the Sixers are playing a rematch against New Orleans. Why you come on after the New Orleans game too, Wayne?
Yeah, Wayne. People was asking about you. They was gunning for you
What?
after the show. The New Orleans.
Because I still was on vacation.
That don't mean nothing.
It do mean something. Y'all, listen.
I take my on vacation. We still do the show.
Tim did the show.
Did you do the show last night?
He did a whole nother country. Did
you do the show last night?
I was in Spain, and I still did the show.
And you also took off too, didn't you? I was on vacation last week. I did 2 shows, and then I took some time off to spend some time with my family.
All right. Anyway.
Nobody want to spend time with you. You was by yourself playing 2K.
I know.
Probably was.
But we'll be back on
tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, we come in there. We host them. I think we're gonna beat them this time. We ain't gonna give them no 11 threes to no.
I think we're gonna win too. I said this the other night. I think we're gonna win.
So I mean, what I understand, because Doc Rivers get on my nerves. I know we ain't talking basketball, but for him,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
For him not to play the young boy yesterday, Paul Reed, when you got a bunch of young boys who's playing at OKC, that yesterday was a teaching opportunity, and he wouldn't even let him get no burn. He gave him literally like the last 3 minutes of the game.
That was nutty.
That was so pointy.
Wait, I'm gonna tell you like this. I love talking sports, but I don't get paid for this. So if you talking about we coming through a stretch where it's like 4 games in 5 nights or something like that, you might see me miss 1 or 2.
But Tim got to say, see, we used to be getting a little bit of comeuppance for our content and being out here and talking to everybody, sports talk and all that. And Tim used to have a super chat. So what's going on with we don't do that no more. Nobody can, donate out the generosity.
Oh, real quick. And first of all, nobody in here that hasn't done a show by themselves is going to come on here and question me missing the show.
I'm ready to do a show by myself tomorrow. Y'all
All
can
right.
2 people in here. 1 person is in here part-time all the time. And the other person never coming here by itself. He start pulling people off the street to do podcasts instead of doing one by itself.
I've been pretty consistently.
You have
been consistent at being inconsistent.
I have a lot less responsibility as of late, so I've been pretty consistent as of late. But that's neither here nor there.
Dare call my name, speak my name in vain.
All right, y'all. We're gonna be out. We'll be back tomorrow after the game. Pelicans, Sixers,
maybe.
X-Men, I told you CJ wasn't going TJ will never hit 11 threes again. And probably never hit double-digit threes again in his life.
If Maxie would have showed up, never mind.
Maxie was this first game back. Anyway, y'all.
He was rusty. You could see it. He was rusty.
He's gonna be hot tomorrow.
All right, y'all. We out.
Deuces.
All right.